Welcome into Bengals Breakdown. I am Tom Downey, Stone Shields, once again behind the scenes as we run through some minicamp takeaways with 2 days of Bengals mandatory minicamp wrapped up. The third early morning one that might not go very long is set for tomorrow as we get closer and closer to the start of the much awaited, still long way away NFL season. If you are excited about this upcoming year for the Bengals, which should have Joe Burrow healthy, then do me a favor and spam WHO DEY in the comment section of today's show. Let's see just how many WHO DEYs we can get down there. First up in the minicamp takeaways, I think one of the bigger ones over the last 2 days, Dax Hill has got the majority of the reps with the starters opposite Cam Taylor-Britt. I think that's kind of a big deal. Dax Hill made the move from safety down to corner, and the Bengals, I think, at minimum, are trying to get a feel for just how much he can do at the outside corner spot. A spot he hasn't really played. He was more of a nickel at Michigan, more of a safety for the Bengals. Here's what quarterback coach Charles Burks said on Dax Hill. Dax is the important chess piece. He can play all 4 of those cover spots. He has the skill set. I'm very comfortable with the developments over the last month and a half. You'll want those guys to have versatility because of the different body types they have to cover on third down. Now, on one hand, I read that quote, I still kind of get the tight end eraser vibes of like, you're going to move Dax Hill around and he'll kind of play that, I need someone to cover the tight end, let's put Dax Hill on him in the way that Trey Flowers did a few seasons ago. Hill did not play very much as a rookie in 2022. It's just 16 tackles, 15 games played. Played a lot in 2023. Did stuff the stat sheet to an extent, also was at least partially responsible for far too many busts, and a big reason why the Bengals said, we got to get Geno Stone, we got to get Von Bell back, and they moved Dax Hill to corner. It is very clear to me that the cornerback 2 spot is totally up for grabs. Now, DJ Turner got reps with the ones in OTAs. Now Dax Hill got most of the reps with the ones. And with another corner, Josh Newton, we'll talk about here in a little bit. Obviously, CTB and Mike Hilton are going to start. That, corner 2/corner 4/5 spot, I think is up for grabs. So I don't want to overreact and say, clearly Dax Hill's the guy, but this is noteworthy. And, we'll put the depth chart up as the depth chart was and adjust it when we need to adjust it there. But it is exceedingly obvious to me. It's a real position battle, which was also said by the Bengals coaching staff. They're like, yeah, this is a battle. We'll see how things change, if at all they change on the final day of minicamp. I suspect come training camp time, going to be lots of rotation in that cornerback spot opposite Cam Taylor-Britt. So should Dax Hill start for the Bengals? It is the pinned comment on today's show, and I was talking about outside cornerback spot. Y for yes, N for no in the comments section. We're going to stick at corner here because Dax Hill got most of the reps with the ones, but Josh Newton also got some reps, and I find that really interesting. I do think his play style, at his best as a man coverage guy, I think fits pretty well for what the Bengals would like to do under defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. But I think Newton has impressed the Bengals coaching staff a bit, and not just because he shut down older Chad Johnson on the outside. Here's what CB coach Charles Burks said on Newton. He makes people uncomfortable, which I love. He's got an edge. Again, he's at his best in press man. Go figure. He's one of those guys who takes it to heart. He wakes up and wants to be the best. He's wired the right way, and whenever you're wired that way, it does make people uncomfortable because he's separating himself mentally. Cam Taylor-Britt was the same way coming in. Now, I think that Newton getting some reps with the ones probably means more about Newton than anything about DJ Turner, who, by the way, did have a pick at practice. It was against Jake Browning, but it was still a pick after all. Turner also got some reps, a lot of reps with ones at the OTAs. Again, it is a battle. But I think that mid-day 3 pick, earning, which is the word I'm going to use for it, reps with the ones, I think matters. So I think he beats out Dax Hill and DJ Turner in year 1. No, probably not. But I think it is always, I view it as an absolute win when the young guys are earning those starting reps, as few and far between as they might be, as unlikely it is he actually starts. I do think that matters. I do think that is a big deal as they move forward. So I want you guys to rate your confidence level in Josh Newton, the rookie corner out of TCU. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Next up, there might emphasis might be a Chase Brown injury because he's certainly not holding out, as James Rapine pointed out with some video clips to go along with it that they don't translate quite like that on our side. Plus, it's his video. Chase Brown isn't practicing today. Doesn't seem like anything serious. He's with the other backs throughout practice. So, I don't know, maybe he tweaked a hammy or a groin or something. Is something I'll mention, and we probably won't mention again until we get to training camp. Maybe in the winners and losers video tomorrow. But until training camp, because in theory he's good to go by then. I am excited to see what Chase Brown can do entering this upcoming season. I want to see if he can be a bigger volume, still explosive runner and receiver in the screen game that we saw last year. I mean, how long had it been since the Bengals had busted some successful screen plays? And then Chase Brown ended up getting several of them this past year. And there is a large role that can be had for Chase Brown. I mean, he had 44 carries and 14 receptions last year. He can get a significantly larger work share with Joe Mixon gone. Zach Moss is not going to be, I don't think, a 300 touch back in the same way Mixon was at his best. I think that means there's plenty of opportunities for Chase Brown to emerge, and I'm excited to see what he looks like in camp, but we will mention that he didn't really practice today. Speaking of not practicing today, Ja'Marr Chase was limited again at best, and this is at least worth mentioning. Not panic time, by no means, but hey, let's make note of this. So, as Kelsey Conway and Jay Morrison and others pointed out, Ja'Marr Chase has basically only been doing the light walkthroughs and the meetings. Not doing individual drills, really. He's not doing team 7-on-7 drills either, which means one of two things for me. Number one, is he secretly holding in? Now, the hold in, if you know what that is, you can get fined at mini camps and training camps if you're not there. So instead of holding out, what players have been doing is holding in. They are there so they don't get fined, but they're not really doing anything. That's option A. Option B is he's just getting ramped up. And the Bengals aren't pushing him because he was away from the team earlier on. They're keeping it light on him, and it'll be a full goal for training camp later on at the end of July. Now, my initial guess for a Ja'Marr Chase deal was August of 2025. Neither side's going to push that hard to get that deal done, and then they'll make sure it gets done before the season begins next year, just like it was with Joe Burrow this past season. But if he is holding in, that's kind of noteworthy. I think it'll be something similar tomorrow. Chase has declined to talk to media the last 2 days. We'll see if he says anything of note tomorrow. And I assume it'll be a full go for training camp. Do you agree with me? Will Ja'Marr Chase fully participate in training camp? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Do have one adjustment to make from our takeaway video on yesterday. Trent Brown, not technically working at guard. So an unfortunate L in the comment from my longtime friend Charlie Clifford, who had tweeted out that Trent Brown was lining up next to Amarius Mims. That's not quite technically true, but not actually what was going on. More on that in a minute. But if you want daily Bengals coverage, or at least pretty darn close to daily, maybe not on Christmas, we got you covered. We'll have preseason watch parties, regular season watch parties as well. So do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/BengalsTV. So Trent Brown did line up next to Amarius Mims at practice during one of the reps. It was not actually Trent Brown working at guard. It was actually a jumbo package that had Brown on the outside as an extra lineman and then Trent Brown at right tackle. So very much a false alarm here. So the intrigue, excitement I had yesterday can kind of go back out the window because it ends up not mattering the way that I thought it was going to. So sorry on my fault. I'll make Charlie pay for our next drinks as punishment. I do like the jumbo set work, though. I think that does make some sense in some goal line areas. I mean, you've heard of the fat goalie theory. How about just the large, giant offensive tackle theory? Going jumbo set with Orlando Brown, Trent Brown, and Amarius Mims. That is wild to me. And I do think getting, 4th and 1, let's just run behind Brown and Mims. That's kind of a fun idea. If you really want to get creative, you can go unbalanced, which I think is cheating, and put Orlando Brown over there too. That's probably getting too far into the weeds there. But I do think you'll see the back to my initial theory of right tackle battle between Brown and Mims will be ongoing in training camp.